What's going on, Warriors? It's your boy, Lionheart, and I'm back. Feels good, man. I hope you guys are doing good. I'm doing great. I'm feeling good. Using this time, we're in the middle of the C virus outbreak, so we've got to be careful. I'm doing my best to keep careful. I'm staying in my house. I'm only going out if I need to do some shopping, right? I ain't coming out of my house for nothing else. You know what I'm saying? And I'm using that. I'm actually enjoying myself in my house. I've surrounded myself in my house with things that I love. I got my statue collection. I've got my books that I can read. I've got all my gaming. I've got my PC master race set up. I've got my music. I've got my training equipment. I've got everything that I need in my house. So I don't really need to go out. And I've been using that time, I've been studying, doing a lot of reading, right? Just to see about history, about the world, about historical figures, about society as a whole, and what it means to be part of society, because I look at the world right now and the world leaders are failing society. No, the world leaders are failing humanity as it is, right? So we as individuals, me, you, everybody, we as individuals, we just have to be good. We just have to be good to our fellow neighbor. That's it. And just be better. That's it. Anyway, I don't want to rant about politics and all that type of stuff. I was just saying, what I've been doing in my time, as I said, gaming, reading, watching all my anime, films, TV shows, relaxing, working out. I've been working out a lot, right? Before, I would do stuff like, I would do maybe my push-ups, sit-ups, squats, lunges, dips, stuff like that. But I've kind of been doing it all through the day, actually, now. So I've kind of changed my regiment when it comes to just training, and learning new skills. I've been trying to learn a new language and also dance. I've actually been learning dance, the moonwalk and stuff like that, and magic tricks. I've been learning magic tricks and stuff like that, just expanding my skill set mentally and physically. And also I've been meditating a lot. I've been doing a lot of meditation and just focusing on myself, focusing my mind, focusing my body. And then really just trying to enjoy myself within myself, right? And that's it, really. I'm trying to be the best version of me as possible within the restraints of my home. That's essentially what I'm doing, right? So yeah, that's all I really want to say about that. But right now, I want to talk about gaming, right? With the... Sorry if I ranted there a little bit. I enjoy talking with you guys, the warriors, the people, So I want to talk about PS5, Xbox Series X, and the Unreal Engine 5 and what the implications for that new system means in the video game world, right? And also just gaming in general, when developers make games, when they do well and when they slip up, and just how that affects things moving forward. So first of all, let's talk about let's say Unreal Engine 5, yeah, because that was a big thing that did come when they were doing that presentation in April. Just talk about the future of gaming and new engines that are coming for the new systems that are coming in the future gaming, right? And I mean, I I didn't understand a lot of what they were saying. The two things that I took away from it were Lumen and Nanite. Yeah, Nanite, which seemed to me they were saying that it is virtualized, that it utilizes, what is it, virtualized micro polygon geometry, right? And the polygons can scale from they can use like areas of kilometers or millimeters. That's how big they can make the polygons. Yeah. And essentially, if you look at a movie, let's say, for example, not movie, TV show, like Mandalorian, right? Because that's the only one that I know that I definitely know used the Unreal Engine, right, to render areas. You look at Mandalorian, godlike TV show, godlike, yeah. Most of the areas you see in that TV show, they're not actually real desert areas. The wide space, there's the dunes, the mountain areas, the canyons, the deserts, the sand dunes. It's not real. It's all Unreal Engine. That's how godlike the detail and the space, because they can, that Nanite allows them to create such fine detail, yeah, that it can be millions or even hundreds of millions or even billions of polygons, right? So that they can make it so tiny, microscopic tiny, right? So that's what I took from it, yeah. Another thing that I took from it was lumens, which is basically lighting, you know, and like refractions and reflectiveness in areas that are built using nanite, and its reflective properties, they actually happen in real time, even with daytime. So when you have like the light coming out of the ceiling and bouncing down, it was actually doing that in real time. They did actually program every bit of movement, you know, when the light reflected on certain parts, right? So it can create like very, very incredible dynamic lighting and bouncing. If they use like refractions, yeah, the refraction rate is almost infinite. Yeah, the way the light will bounce off objects when they use like the flashlight, you know, in a dark area, it illuminates it, right? So that's kind of what I took from it, yeah. As well as that demo, which was godlike, but it's a tech demo. It don't mean nothing to me. It looked godlike. If that was at maybe E3 or a gaming showcase as one of tens of games or hundreds of games, then I'd be cool with that. But if you're doing a presentation and the only thing you're showing me is that's all, and then labeling it as gameplay, I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. I'm not happy. Don't want to see that. I want to see that, and then I want to see something that I can actually play in the future. You know, that's what I want to see. But it did look godlike. You cannot deny it looked godlike, and the future for that is incredible. Incredible, and I cannot wait to see what the devs are going to do. But it comes down to the developers, right? Because if the devs create godlike games, godlike detail, then the game, of course, is going to be godlike. But it comes down to the developers and how good they are at utilizing the system, learning the system, you know, and applying it into their games, right? But end of the day, with those detailed areas, it is all about going to just recording sources and then importing it into Unreal Engine, right? So for example, they could go to Niagara Falls and then film the Niagara Falls, yeah, in all its multiple angles and the way the water comes down, and they can import that into the Unreal Engine, and they could do some incredible godlike manipulation with it to make it look like somebody is in the Niagara Falls or falling down the Niagara Falls or anything like that, or that the Niagara Falls is a backdrop in a scene and it will look real, it'll look godlike with the lighting, which is lumens, and the environment and the interactions with nanites. So it's exciting to see what they can do with that. So yeah, that's what I really wanted to say about that. And it's important to look at the future. So a game that I am very, very excited, that I would love to see is Marvel versus Capcom 4, right? And I want to see, because they did Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and the game was alright, right? But the thing that I didn't like about that game, I liked a lot about that game, but the things that I didn't like were the things like the switching system. The switching system weren't that great. I couldn't tell what the hell was going on, right? And the roster. The roster was alright, but I felt like the roster was more there to serve promotion of Marvel movies, comic books and TV shows than it was to help the fan base enjoy playing with their characters, right? Because end of the day, Marvel characters are godlike, but the holy grail is X-Men. That's the holy grail. That is the crown jewel of Marvel. It is the X-Men characters, not the Avengers, the X-Men characters, right? I mean, I think one of the main reasons that it would have been cool, imagine the next Marvel game, I want to see Wolverine, Rogue, Magneto, Deadpool, Cyclops, Quicksilver, Storm, Beast, Nightcrawler. Let's get Nightcrawler in there. Gambit, Sabretooth, Juggernauts, Jubilation. I want to see Jubilation. I want to play Jubilation. Kitty Pryde. Let's get some Kitty Pryde in there. I don't know what he's calling himself these days. Archangel. I think he's calling himself like Angel now. Let's call him Warren Worthington. Yeah, let's call him by his real name. Yeah, because I don't know what he's going by. I think it's Angel, right? Iceman, Havoc. Would be cool to see Havoc in there. Emma Frost, Psylocke, Pyro, Toad. Toad would be good to see Toad in there. Why not? Why not? You can have, there's so many characters that they can put in there that they're just not, but I want to see. I want to see Cable. Let's get Cable in there. Sunspot. Sunspot is doing work right now. Blink would be really good. Riptide. Banshee would be fine. Magneto, he's the crown jewel. He's one of the main characters that we need to see in the next games. We need to see those characters. Domino as well. Sentinel. We've got to have Sentinel in there, right? Like, that's who I want to see. I want to see some of those characters, And if they do like a new Marvel game, right? This one, it was good. We had characters like Gamora, who was cool. Bloody excellent. Really cool. But no one really asked for that character. If you're to give me a choice between Gamora and Magneto, I'd choose Magneto. But Marvel would say Gamora. She's the character we're trying to push right now. Alright, no problem. You put in Gamora, which is not a good thing, because the audience wants to see Magneto. So I feel like they have to serve the fans with the characters that they want, opposed to the characters that are going to serve the movies, the TV shows, and their agenda. Unfortunately, That's just the way it is. You know, the fans want something, and if they don't get what they want, they revolt. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we never see a Marvel vs. Capcom 4, which is heartbreaking. But if you look at the way the FGC treated Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and Marvel saw that, I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, you know what, yeah, these guys are ungrateful. We're done with them. Because that's exactly what they did with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. When they saw the way that the community, fighting game community, FGC, reacted to Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, they dropped that game like a bad habit. That was it. They didn't care. They're like, you know what, that's your game, done, bye. And then you'll never get us again. That's what I felt Marvel did. Which at the end of the day, I can't say I blame them, because the game was treated pretty badly. But then again, if you look at the game, the graphics weren't great, man. The graphics were not great in that game. They could have been significantly better, right? The game, I mean, I really don't want to say it, but the game, it did look like a mobile game. I don't want to say that, but it did, man. It weren't the greatest graphics, right? And the fighting system with the switching system, you know, you do a move and then you switch in your character, they do a combo, they do another move, switch in another character, switch. You can hardly tell what was going on the screen. And that's what I didn't like about the game, as well as the graphics. But the story mode was good. At least they put effort into the story mode, right? But I just think if they do like a new one, they need to put in the X-Men characters, man, because everybody loves the X-Men. Everyone knows X-Men from the animated TV show, right? That's what I feel put the X-Men into the public eye, was the animated TV show. So everybody has got a representation of what those characters sound like, what they look like from the TV show. And in the comic books, I've just taken it to another level, right? So I feel like they do need to serve the fans that love the game originally, because it is the original fans that are going to influence the newer fans to love the game and get into it, right? So yeah, I mean, I just wanted to like talk about that, you know, like the next Marvel game, if they ever do it and they use the Unreal Engine. Although, to be honest with you, I can't really see it happening, which is heartbreaking, but I'd love to see that, you know. And the next console generation, it's exciting, man. You know, I cannot wait to see what kind of games they're going to do. I mean, what games are you looking forward to seeing on the next console generation? I mean, the main thing that I could, as I said, when I thought about was Marvel vs. Capcom 4, right? That's something that I thought about in relation. That's what motivated me to do this video, talk about the PS5 and Xbox Series X. I mean, to be honest with you, me personally, I'm probably going to get both of them, because I'm in a fortunate position, right, to be able to afford both of them. So I'm probably going to buy both. But it does come down to the games, yeah? And unfortunately, exclusives, right? Because I used to play the Xbox more. I'm not into the console wars and what type of BS, right? I'm only focused on the games. I like the Xbox infrastructure and their service, the ecosystem of the Xbox. So I focused on that more. But that when the proliferation of exclusives started to come into it, I started to look at, you know, PlayStation. That game had Nier Automata exclusive. That game has got Street Fighter. That game has got Guilty Gear. That game has got Spider-Man PS4, etc., etc. So I started to lean more towards the PlayStation, right? And Tekken, right? Even though I know Tekken was on the Xbox as well. But I bought a stick. I don't play on pad. I play on arcade stick, right? So what am I going to do? Am I going to buy a controller or a stick for the Xbox and the PlayStation? They cost about £300. £400 sticks. So I don't think I'm going to be buying one for the Xbox and one for the PlayStation. For a lot of the fighting game community, people that will play Street Fighter will play Tekken. People that will play Tekken might dabble in some Guilty Gear, which means a lot of the fighting game community is going to be on the it's going to be on the PlayStation. So the PlayStation is obviously where I'm going to go because I want to fight. When I play my fighting games, I want to fight against people. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to play a fighting game to fight against a computer. That doesn't mean anything to me. Or fight against a low scale of people. I want to fight like as many people as possible and enjoy good times with as many people as possible, right? And I feel like if you have a big enough community, that's what it's going to give me. So yeah, so I'm really excited about that. Really want to see what's going to happen with the next console generation, and I just hope like the game developers, you know, really step up. Because if you look at, like, I'll say, like, let's talk about Capcom. Let's stick with Capcom at the minute, right? So Capcom made Resident Evil 7, incredible. They made Monster Hunter, Monster Hunter World, Monster Hunter World Iceborne, incredible. Everybody likes that. The game is like a 15 million selling game, units sold, over 15 million units sold for that game, right? They made Resident Evil 2. They made Devil May Cry 5. Hit after hit after hit. And if you notice, what is the big thing that they changed in those games? They made those games in their house, like they made it internally with Capcom. They didn't source it out to nobody. They put all their effort and all their resources and all their budget into those games, and the community reacted. When they make a really godlike quality product with high level detail, high level graphics, ingenuity, innovative, amazing graphics, story, options, not trying to cut no content, people love it. And that really, really showed in games like Devil May Cry, in Resident Evil 2, in Resident Evil 7, in Monster Hunter World. It showed, you know. But then they got a little bit too comfortable, and they made Resident Evil 7, right? And Resident Evil 3. They made Resident Evil 3, right? And that game is a good game, but they cut too many things out of that game. That game could have been way better and way more than what it was because they got too comfortable and they wanted to rush the game out just to make money. And it was a poor decision. It was a poor decision because they put like Resident Evil Resistance. I don't care about no Resident Evil Resistance, man. You know, they should not have bundled the Resistance with Resident Evil 3. They should have just focused on Resident Evil 3 and that is it. No messing about with any of those other online components. Just focus all your money and resources onto Resident Evil 3 and it would have been a better game. It's a good game, but it could have been way better, you know. So I just hope like in the future, you know, something like Capcom, they focus more on their games and they don't lose sight of what has made the people love them again. And that is high detail, high quality, no shortcuts. Put your best men on the job. That's it. You know, so if they do make a Resident Evil remake, don't cut nothing. Don't cut a damn thing. If you add, sure, but you don't cut anything, right? And another thing that I want to see as well is if they do a Marvel's Capcom 4, you know, all your effort. It can't look like Marvel's Capcom Infinite, right? And that look like a mobile game, man. You know it does. You know, they know it does, man. Like, I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, I know the graphics were good, but it still looked like a mobile game, you know? It didn't. I think Marvel vs. Capcom 3 moved better than actual Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. The movement, something like the movement was just better, and it had like, it was more dynamic. I felt like Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Ultimate, you know, and that's a problem for me to say that I feel like the older game, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, was better than Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. So that's something that they need to fix if they ever give us a new Marvel X-Men game, but I don't think that they will. So yeah, I mean, Warriors, I want to hear what you think. What do you think about the next console generation? What did you think of this whole Unreal Engine 5? You know, what are you looking at from developers? Do you have a particular developer that you're interested in? You know, Respawn, Ubisoft, you know, they've got, what is it? That next game, Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red, Capcom, Microsoft Studios, all those companies that they've employed, you know, Sony, you know, which I think Sony are going to have a bit of a problem, right, that coming with this new console generation, you know, with the whole Last of Us 2 thing, because they kind of like stitched up a lot of fans and a lot of their own community by going in with their DMCA takedowns and the way they're trying to silence people, you know, and all that type of madness. So I think they've done like a lot of damage to their own community, right? That will trickle down to the sales in their games and their console. But, you know, so I basically want to know what you guys think about this next console generation. Who you excited for? What games are you thinking of? You know, and yes. So that's all I want to say, you know, and don't forget, don't worry, my Final Fantasy VII review is coming, right? And I didn't really want to talk about Final Fantasy VII regarding this because I don't have a grasp or even a inclination or comprehension of what they can do in the future for Final Fantasy VII. But with Marvel, I can. You know I want to see assists back. You know, I want to see iconic characters back. I want to see godlike story mode. I want to see godlike combos. I want to see the characters back. You know, so at least I could talk about that. So yeah, Warriors. That's all I really wanted to say. I want to say thank you for watching. Stay blessed. Take care. Please be safe. And just be a good person, man. Just be a good person to your neighbor. Be a good person to just people, and just try to be better. All right, Warriors. Till my next video. Laters.